Oh, hi. I was just doing a little social distancing. I'm 6 feet away from everyone here, except for this gal. Read a little book. That's not what we're going to be reading today. We're going to go over some poems. Sorry for those of you who I said would start at 18:30. Start a little early. But it's alright. Come back around to it. So, the first poem I have for you today, there was a famous author. Her name was Mary Shelley. She's credited as writing the first science fiction novel ever. This poem is written by her husband, Mr. Shelley. It's called Ozymandias. I met a traveler from an antique land who said, two vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them, on the sand, half sunk and shattered visage, lies whose frown and wrinkled lips and sneer of cold command tell that its sculptor will those passions read, yet survive, stamped on these lifeless things. The hand that mocked them, and the heart that fed, and on the pedestal the words appear. My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look, all my works, ye mighty and despair. Nothing besides remain. Round the decay of the colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and leave and sands stretch far away. This next poem is called Good Bones by Maggie Smith. Life is short, though I kept this from my children. Life is short, and I've shortened mine. In 1,000 delicious, ill-advised ways. On 1,000 delicious, ill-advised ways. I'll keep from my children. The world is at least 50% terrible, and that's conservative estimate. Though I kept this from my children. For every bird there is a stone thrown at a bird. For every loved child, a child broken, bagged, sunk in a lake. Life is short, and the world is at least half terrible. And for every kind stranger, there is one who would break you. Though I kept this from my children, I'm trying to sell them the world. Any decent realtor walking you through a real shithole trips on the beautiful good bones. This place could be beautiful, right? You could make this place beautiful. This poem is an old one, and it's one of my favorites. It's by Eversley. It was written in 1848. Old and new, a parable. See how the autumn leaves float by decaying down the wild swirls of the rain-swollen stream. So fleet the works of men, back to earth again. Ancient and holy, things fade like a dream. Nay, see the spring blossoms steal forth amain, closing with tender hues, orchid and glen. So through old forms pass by, nearer shall their spirit die. Look, England's bare boroughs shown green leaf again. There was a movie that came out. It was panned. It was not liked by critics. I really enjoyed it. It was based on the poems by T.S. Eliot. Here is one of the poems that inspired one of the songs. It's called Mr. Mistopheles. Mistopheles by T.S. Eliot. You ought to know Mr. Mistopheles, the original conjuring cat. There can be no doubt about that. Please listen to me and don't scoff. All his inventions are his own back. There's no such cat in the metropolis. He holds all the patent monopolies, from performing surprising illusions and creating eccentric confusions and prestidigitation, and at legerdemain he'll defy examination and deceive you again. The greatest magicians have something to learn from Mr. Mistopheles. Conjuring turn, presto, away we go, and we all say, oh, well I never, was there ever, a cat so clever as magical Mr. Mephistopheles. He's quiet and small, he is black. From his ears to the tip of his tail, he can creep through the tiniest crack. He can walk on the narrowest rail, and he can pick any card from a pack. He is equally cunning with dice, and he is always deceiving you into believing you that he's only hunting for mice. He can play any trick with a cork, or a spoon, and a bit of a fish paste. If you look for a knife or a fork, and you think it's merely misplaced, you have seen it one moment, and then it's gone, but you'll find it next week lying out on the lawn. And we'll all say, "Oh, well, I never was there ever a cat so clever as magical Mr. Mephistopheles." His manner is vague and aloof. You would think there was nobody shyer, but his voice has been heard on the roof when he was curled up by the fire, and he's sometimes been heard by the fire when he was about on the roof. At least we all heard that somebody purred, which is inconsistible proof of his singular magical powers, and I have known the family to call him in from the garden for hours, while he was asleep on the hall, and not long ago this phenomenal cat produced 7 kittens right out of a hat, and we all said, "Oh, well, I never. Did you ever know a cat so clever as magical Mr. Mephistopheles?" This next poem I had wrote one morning when I was working in a coffee shop, and I like to base them off a lot of haikus, so I hope you enjoy it. It's called Next in Line. Suey, come get your slop. Come drown yourselves in the trough. Swine, the lot of you. Thank you. And last time, I ended a poem by one of my favorites, Leonard Cohen. Leonard Cohen? Leonard Cohen. This song is called Beneath My Hands. Beneath my hands, your small breasts are the upturned bellies of breathing fallen sparrows. Wherever you move, I hear the sound of closing wings, of falling wings. I am speechless because you have fallen beside me, because your eyelashes are the spine of tiny, fragile animals. I dread the time when your mouth begins to call me the hunter, when you call me close to tell me, your body is not beautiful. I want to summon the eyes and hidden mouths of stone and light and water to testify against you. I want them to surrender before you, the trembling rime of your face, from the deep caskets when you call me close to tell you your body is not beautiful. I want my body and my hands to be pools for your looking and laughing. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed that. You all have a wonderful evening.